Owning a local gym sounds almost unfair. People pay you every month. Steel doesn't expire, you don't stock shelves, you don't chase daily customers. Build the gym once and collect memberships forever. At least that's the dream. Now here's the part almost nobody tells you. If every member actually used the gym they paid for, the business would probably fail. Not eventually, immediately. Picture a neighborhood gym with 2,500 active members. On paper, it looks like a thriving business, until all 2,500 decide to show up on the same Tuesday evening. The parking lot fills in minutes, every treadmill is occupied, every squat rack has a line, the locker rooms overflow. Within hours, the gym becomes unusable, and angry customers begin canceling. That's the first paradox of the fitness industry. A successful gym is built on people paying for something they won't fully use. Unlike a restaurant that wants every table occupied or a hotel that wants every room booked, a gym quietly depends on the opposite. It needs members to stay committed without showing up all at once. That isn't a flaw in the business, it's the business. Every missed Monday, every skipped workout, every New Year's resolution that quietly fades by February makes the math work a little better. It sounds cynical, because it is. But here's the twist. Even with thousands of automatic monthly payments, most independent gyms never make exceptional money. Some barely survive, others quietly close their doors without anyone noticing. Which raises an uncomfortable question. If thousands of people keep paying every month, where does all the money actually go? To answer that, you have to stop thinking of a gym as a place where people build muscle and start seeing it for what it really is, a financial machine disguised as a fitness business. Most people think opening a gym starts with buying weights. It doesn't. It starts with signing a lease, and from that moment, the clock starts charging rent. A modest neighborhood gym around 4,000 to 6,000 square feet can easily require an initial investment of $350,000 to $750,000 before a single member walks through the door. Surprisingly, the dumbbells are rarely the biggest expense. First, there's the empty building. Concrete floors must be covered with commercial rubber. Basic bathrooms become locker rooms, new plumbing, industrial electrical systems, high-capacity air conditioning. A gym filled with 50 people can generate enough body heat to overwhelm a normal office HVAC system. Ignore that and your members won't leave because of the workout. They'll leave because the room feels unbearable. Then comes the equipment. A commercial treadmill isn't the one sitting in someone's spare bedroom. It's built to survive thousands of miles every year. Each one can cost $8,000 to $12,000. Premium strength machines often cost $4,000 to $8,000 each. By opening day, it's common for more than $200,000 worth of equipment to be sitting on the floor, most of it financed, which means the owner doesn't just owe money, the owner owes monthly payments. Then the fixed costs begin to stack up. Rent, payroll, insurance, cleaning, software, music licensing, internet, utilities, equipment maintenance. Whether 10 members show up or 500, those bills arrive anyway. That's why experienced owners rarely ask, how many members can this gym hold? They ask a completely different question. How many members do I need before I stop losing money? Because somewhere between the first membership and the 1,000th, the business crosses an invisible line. Below that line, every month feels like survival. Above it, the economics begin to change completely, and that change has almost nothing to do with exercise. Here's the biggest misconception about the gym business. The product isn't fitness. Fitness is simply the reason people buy. The real product is recurring revenue. The moment a new member types in their credit card, something important happens. The gym no longer depends on convincing that person to buy again tomorrow. The sale is already over. Now the business shifts into something far more valuable, a subscription model. Every month, thousands of small payments arrive automatically through electronic funds transfer, or EFT. No cashier, no sales pitch, no negotiation, just money quietly appearing in the bank account. Imagine a gym with 2,800 members, each paying an average of $45 a month. That's over $125,000 in recurring monthly revenue before the owner sells a single protein shake, before a single personal training session, before anyone even touches a treadmill. To a customer, it feels like paying for access. To a banker, it looks like predictable cash flow. And predictable cash flow is one of the most valuable assets any business can have. But here's the catch. Every member who walks through the door also creates a cost. They use electricity, they use hot water, they wear out machines, they sweat on benches that need cleaning, they shorten the life of expensive equipment. A member who pays but rarely visits can actually be more profitable than someone who trains 6 days a week. That's a strange sentence, but it's true. The goal isn't to keep every treadmill busy. The goal is to keep every membership active. That's why experienced owners obsess over a metric called churn. Not because they fear members who stop exercising, but because they fear members who stop paying. One cancellation isn't a problem. 100 cancellations can erase an entire month's profit. Which is why the smartest gym owners don't spend all day thinking about barbells or treadmills. They spend far more time thinking about human behavior. Because understanding why people quit is often worth far more than understanding how they work out. Walk into almost any successful local gym. At first, it looks like a room full of equipment. Look closer. Almost nothing is where it is by accident. The treadmills are usually the first thing you see. Not because they're the most important machines, because movement sells. Someone touring a gym doesn't see empty space. They see people running, sweating, making progress. It creates a powerful first impression before a single word is spoken. Now, look at the mirrors. Most people think they're there to check form. That's only part of the story. Mirrors make the room feel larger, brighter, more energetic. More importantly, they constantly remind members of the person they're trying to become. The longer someone stays motivated, the longer they keep paying. Even the layout follows a financial strategy. The busiest equipment is spread across the floor instead of packed into one corner. That reduces waiting times. A crowded gym feels popular, too crowded feels frustrating. Owners spent years trying to find the balance. Then comes the invisible costs hiding inside the building. Every air conditioner running overhead, every shower in the locker room, every light above the weight floor, every security camera, every access control gate, every gallon of hot water. Members rarely think about them. Owners think about them every month. Then comes the biggest hidden expense of all, depreciation. Commercial gym equipment is designed to survive years of punishment, not forever. Every dropped barbell, every mile on a treadmill, every cable pulled thousands of times quietly reduces the value of the equipment. The moment a brand new machine is installed, it starts becoming tomorrow's replacement cost. Customers see shiny equipment, owners see future liabilities. Because in the gym business, the building isn't just where the business happens, the building itself becomes one of the business's biggest expenses, and that's exactly why membership fees alone are rarely enough to make owners wealthy. Ask a first-time gym owner where the profit comes from, and they'll probably answer memberships. Experienced owners usually give a different answer. They get people through the door, because a $40 membership doesn't leave much room after rent, payroll, insurance, utilities, cleaning, taxes, equipment financing, and marketing are paid. The real profits are made after the customer has already joined. Take personal training. A trainer charging $80 an hour and coaching 6 clients a day can generate well over $10,000 a month in revenue. The gym doesn't need to perform the training. It simply provides the space, the clients, and often keeps a percentage of every session. Then come the products. A protein shake that costs around $2 to make sells for $8 or $9. Supplements, energy drinks, branded apparel, heart rate monitors, recovery services. Each one earns far higher margins than the membership itself. That's why successful gyms don't measure customers by how much they pay each month. They measure something called lifetime value. Not how much is this membership worth, but how much revenue will this person generate over the next 3 years. A member who spends $45 a month, buys 2 protein shakes every week, joins a small group training program, and renews for 4 years can be worth thousands of dollars. Another member paying the exact same monthly fee who cancels after 3 months may never become profitable at all. The difference isn't strength, it isn't age, it isn't fitness, it's retention. The longer someone stays, the more valuable they become. That's why the best gyms don't just sell exercise. They build habits, friendships, communities, morning routines. Once a gym becomes part of someone's daily life, canceling doesn't feel like saving money. It feels like breaking a routine, and that's exactly what every owner hopes for. Because in the gym business, the hardest membership to sell is always the next one. Most gyms don't collapse because they run out of members. They collapse because they run out of cash. Those are two very different problems. A gym can look busy every evening while quietly losing money every month. Because members don't pay the bills, cash flow does. Imagine a gym collecting $120,000 in monthly membership fees. Sounds healthy, until you subtract the expenses: rent, payroll, equipment loans, insurance, utilities, marketing, software, taxes, maintenance. Suddenly, that impressive revenue begins to disappear. Then something even worse happens. One treadmill breaks, a roof starts leaking, the air conditioning system fails in the middle of July. None of those expenses ask whether it's a good month. They arrive anyway. That's why experienced owners don't fear slow Tuesdays. They fear fixed costs. Fixed costs never take a day off. But there's one number that keeps gym owners awake at night: churn, the percentage of members who cancel each month. At first, it doesn't look dangerous. Maybe 40 people leave, then 55, then 70. Each cancellation barely changes the atmosphere inside the building. The music still plays, the lights stay on, people are still working out. But underneath, the business is slowly bleeding. Now the owner has to spend more money on advertising, more money on promotions, more money on sales staff, just to replace the members who walked away. They're no longer growing, they're running in place. Ironically, the business has become exactly like a treadmill: lots of movement, very little progress. And if debt enters the picture, everything accelerates, because banks don't care whether January was busy or whether February was slow. Loan payments arrive on schedule. Miss enough of them, and the strongest gym in town can become the weakest business on the block. That's why the fitness industry isn't really a competition over who has the newest equipment. It's a competition over who can survive the longest while controlling costs, protecting cash flow, and keeping members from quietly walking away. Because once that financial flywheel slows down, even a packed gym can be only months away from closing its doors. If you want to understand why gyms fail, don't look at the workout floor. Look at the balance sheet. In the early 2000s, Bally Total Fitness looked untouchable. More than 400 locations, millions of members, one of the most recognizable fitness brands in America. From the outside, it looked like a company that had already won, but expansion had been fueled by debt, Every new location came with another financial obligation, another loan, another lease, another monthly payment. Then the economy slowed, membership growth weakened, cash flow tightened. The members were still exercising, the lights were still on, but the debt didn't care. In 2007, Bally filed for bankruptcy. The equipment wasn't the problem, the business model wasn't the problem, the capital structure was. Now, look at a completely different failure. Throughout the 2010s, many independent luxury gyms made the same assumption. People would always pay more for nicer facilities. So they built massive clubs, swimming pools, rock climbing walls, luxury locker rooms, juice bars, saunas, beautiful spaces, beautiful equipment. Beautiful mistake. Then, low-cost chains like Planet Fitness expanded across America. For many customers, saving $80 every month mattered more than using a steam room. The market had changed, the expensive gyms hadn't. Their buildings were designed for premium pricing. Their customers wanted budget memberships. Nothing inside the building was broken, the economics were. That's the lesson almost every failed gym teaches. Businesses rarely die from one catastrophic decision. They die from hundreds of perfectly reasonable decisions made for a market that no longer exists. And in the fitness industry, being the best gym doesn't guarantee survival. Being the best business does. So, what are you really buying when you own a local gym? Not treadmills, not dumbbells, not mirrors. You're buying a system that turns human ambition into recurring cash flow. Every January, millions of people promise themselves they'll finally change. Some do, most don't. And strangely, the business doesn't depend on which group they belong to. It depends on one simple question: will they keep paying next month? That's the invisible engine behind almost every successful gym. The weights are only the stage. The membership is the ticket, and recurring revenue is the performance. The owners who last the longest understand something that first-time entrepreneurs usually don't. They're not in the fitness business, they're in the retention business. Every canceled membership is a tiny crack in the foundation. Every renewed membership makes the entire business stronger. That's why the smartest operators spend less time buying new machines and more time improving the customer experience. Cleaner facilities, faster repairs, better trainers, a stronger community. Because replacing a member is always more expensive than keeping one. Look at the biggest winners in the industry. Companies like Planet Fitness didn't become giants because they had the best equipment. They became giants because they built an economic model that worked even when individual members weren't perfect. Low operating costs, simple layouts, standardized systems, predictable cash flow. That's what investors were really buying. Not gyms, an economic machine. In the end, the economics of owning a local gym can be reduced to one equation: recurring membership revenue plus high-margin services plus strong retention minus fixed costs minus churn minus equipment depreciation equals sustainable profit. Miss just one part of that equation and the business slowly begins to collapse. Which brings us back to where we started. Owning a gym sounds like getting paid to help people become healthier, but the strange truth is this: if every member used the gym exactly as much as they promised themselves they would, many local gyms wouldn't survive. That's the paradox the fitness industry rarely talks about, because the strongest thing inside a successful gym isn't the squat rack, it isn't the treadmill, it isn't even the people lifting the weights. It's the quiet, automatic membership payment that arrives on the first of every month.